Be honest. Some people radiate such negativity that you wonder if they conceal harmful intentions beneath their friendly demeanor. Have you ever felt utterly drained just from being in their presence? As if you need a moment of deep reflection afterward, you're not imagining things. Sometimes, it's more than a mere feeling. It's a subtle but deliberate influence that disrupts your inner peace. The hardest part is that you may genuinely care for them. You trust them until you realize you're entangled in a battle of wits with someone who masks their motives, offering kind words while steering you toward doubt. Today, I'll reveal 5 unmistakable signs that someone in your life may not be a positive influence. They subtly undermine your peace, erode your self-worth, and make you question your own judgment. Grab a cup of tea or a moment of calm, and let's focus. Because recognizing these signs can spare you years of distress and countless hours of self-doubt. If you're ready to see through their facade, please like, subscribe, and comment. I see the truth. Together, we'll shine a light on these hidden challenges. Now, let's begin. The first sign: they subtly encourage you to falter in your values. We all know perfection is unattainable. We stumble, we fail, and sometimes we choose the harder path ourselves. A wise person acknowledges this, while a stubborn one denies it. What truly matters is how those around us respond when we falter. A genuine friend doesn't rejoice in our missteps. They help us rise, even if it's with tough love, because they want us to stand tall again. True friends guide us toward clarity, even when it's uncomfortable, because they value our growth over fleeting comfort. But there's a more dangerous kind of person, one who doesn't openly disrupt, but undermines with a smile. Cloaking their intentions in warmth and charm, they pose as trusted confidants, loyal companions, or those who seem to understand you better than anyone else. Their skill lies in subtlety. They don't openly urge you to ruin your life. Instead, they quietly applaud when you stray from your path. Imagine you're striving to live healthier, eating well, cutting back on sweets or alcohol. Then a friend gently mocks, "Come now, enjoy life a little. You're becoming too serious." They're the first to offer you dessert at a gathering or pour you a drink after you've declined. They make you question your goals, framing discipline as rigidity or selfishness. I recall a man I knew in my youth. Let's call him Robert, who was charming and well-liked. His humor lightened any room, but his influence was far from uplifting. When I worked to overcome unhealthy habits, striving for a better life, Robert was quick to say, "You're doing wonderfully, but one small indulgence won't hurt. You've earned it." Before I could object, he'd place a drink in my hand, toasting with an easy smile, as if it were a gesture of friendship. At first, I believed his actions came from care. I convinced myself he supported me in his own way. But one night, after falling back into old habits I'd vowed to leave behind, I saw the truth. He didn't want my strength. He needed my weakness. My clarity forced him to confront his own struggles, and as long as I faltered, he could avoid facing his own reflection. This is the mindset of such individuals. They don't merely tolerate your failures, they rely on them. Your missteps validate their choices. Misery seeks company, but it prefers company that's easily swayed. Unable to admit their own misdirection, they pull you into their aimless path, all while cloaking it in kindness. They don't boldly urge you to be reckless. Instead, they softly suggest, "Don't be too hard on yourself. just as you're about to repeat past mistakes. The danger lies not only in that moment, but in the gradual erosion of your resolve. Stoic philosophy teaches that our mind is our fortress, and we must guard it diligently against such subtle influences. As Epictetus once said, "No one is truly free if they do not master themselves." These individuals want your fortress's gates wide open, your defenses lowered, because when you begin justifying small compromises, you're more easily led further astray. The tragedy is that they're not always villains in a storybook sense. Often, they're lost themselves, fearful of change, and so they undermine those who strive for it. They may be siblings, spouse, or old friends who know your vulnerabilities and whom you trust enough to lower your guard. To address this, avoid anger or attempts to fix them forcibly. Instead, focus on protecting your own clarity and strength. Stoicism teaches us to face reality without illusion or excuse. You set boundaries calmly but firmly. You choose which conversations to engage in, which temptations to decline, and which invitations to refuse. If necessary, you step back, protecting your mind. Dignity and peace is not selfish, it's essential. I share this not to make you wary of everyone, but to empower you with awareness. Consider those in your life who seem to rejoice when you compromise your values, or who quietly endorse your worst choices under the guise of friendship. Recognizing them is the first step towards safeguarding your inner peace, because true care doesn't lead you into darkness. The second sign, they dismiss your feelings and manipulate with deception. Some of the most damaging manipulation doesn't look like coercion. It appears as care, love, or even loyalty. This is a troubling truth. Many realize too late. This manipulation isn't always overt hostility that pushes you away. It's subtle, deliberate distortions that gradually steer you from your path, so you barely notice the shift. Many of us have experienced this without realizing, blaming ourselves for being too sensitive or lacking understanding, when in truth, we're being quietly led astray. It often begins with someone causing you to doubt your own judgment. They'll say things like, "You're overreacting," or "You're too sensitive," until you start questioning your instinct. Perhaps you've tried sharing concerns about a harmful relationship or friendship, but instead of listening, they dismiss your emotions entirely. Worse still, they may insist they're protecting you while subtly controlling who you see, where you go, or how you spend your time. There are no loud threats or heated arguments, just a quiet persistence that they know better, convincing you that your well-being depends on following their guidance. This form of manipulation is especially cruel because it doesn't initially feel like control. It feels like genuine concern. I've seen people in their 50-second and 60-second, wise in many ways, reduced to tiptoeing around someone they believe cares for them. They avoid longtime friends to keep the peace. They skip family gatherings to avoid conflict. Over time, their world shrinks to the echo of one manipulative voice. This is a stark psychological reality. Their aim isn't to push you into despair, but to gently nudge you off course, so you lose your way without realizing it. Their actions stem from insecurity and a need for control, seeking to keep you reliant on their guidance. Manipulators aren't content with freely given love. They crave devotion they can control. They present their perspective as the only truth, distorting reality until you're unsure of yourself. They don't use overt threats, but rather subtle, almost kind manipulation. "I'm only trying to help. You know I want what's best for you. No one understands you like I do. Over time, you stop challenging them, not because you agree, but because you're too weary to debate what's real. Stoic philosophy offers clarity here. We can't control others' actions, but we must fiercely protect our own minds from such distortions. Epictetus said, "We are not disturbed by things, but by the views we take of them." A manipulator's goal is to seize that view, convincing you their reality is the only one. The antidote is vigilance. Recognize their tactics and refuse to surrender your reason. The solution isn't easy, especially when the manipulator is someone you deeply care for. This requires rediscovering trust in your own perceptions and upholding your boundaries, even if others label you as distant or self-centered. It means seeking relationships built on mutual respect, where differences are honored, not punished, and your independence is valued, not feared. Manipulation is designed to be invisible. Recognizing it is the crucial first step toward reclaiming your peace. Next, we'll discuss practical strategies to set firm boundaries without cruelty. Because protecting your mind is not just self-defense, it's an act of deep care for yourself and the life you wish to build. The third sign they sow: discord and division. The most harmful people aren't those who shout or threaten openly. They pose as allies, drawing you close with apparent care, only to quietly plant seeds of doubt and conflict that fracture your relationships. They are masters of subtle sabotage. They use your confidences as ammunition for gentle nudges that grow into deep rifts. By the time you see the damage, they've moved on to their next display of false loyalty and feigned concern. Here's how they operate. They position themselves as your greatest supporter, inviting your trust and presenting themselves as a safe haven in life's storms. Yet, every secret you share becomes a tool for their manipulation, carefully twisted to spark conflict while they appear blameless. They thrive on chaos and division because it makes them the center of your world, the indispensable advisor and mediator. The harm they cause isn't always loud. It spreads through whispers, skeptical glances, and well-timed suggestions that question others' motives and loyalty. This behavior isn't mere gossip or immaturity. It's a profound form of control. By inserting themselves between your relationships, these manipulators ensure they hold the power to shape your perceptions, deciding who is right, who is wrong, who is trustworthy, and who is not. And don't be mistaken, they don't just target casual friendships. Their preferred targets are marriages, families, and enduring bonds. Anything strong enough to threaten their influence. Psychologically, these individuals are driven by insecurity and a deep need to feel essential. They cannot tolerate others forming healthy, independent relationships because it displaces them from the center of attention. By fostering division, they create reliance on their guidance. You turn to them for advice, clarity, or peace, and they eagerly provide just enough to keep you trapped in their cycle of influence. This is a calculated pattern, exploiting trust, love, and vulnerability to maintain their hold over you. Marcus Aurelius warned that we must not let others' opinions control us, that we must discipline our own perceptions. This wisdom is vital when facing those who subtly sow discord. You must be willing to see through their tactics, even if it's painful to realize a trusted person may not be safe. Step back and reflect. Does this person bring clarity or only confusion? Do they help resolve conflicts or thrive on perpetuating them? Are they truly concerned for your well-being? Or do they seek your dependence on their counsel? The Stoic response is not to engage in their games or confront them with anger, as that only pulls you deeper into their script. The Stoic response is calm awareness. You choose what to share. You refuse to let them use you against others. You prioritize direct, honest communication with loved ones. And if necessary, you create distance not out of spite, but to protect what's precious and preserve your peace. Acknowledging that someone harms you subtly is not weakness, it's strength. It's the courage to see clearly, safeguard your relationships, and demand transparency and respect. As we move forward, we'll explore how to set unwavering boundaries with grace, ensuring your integrity remains intact, no matter who challenges it, because maintaining integrity in close relationships isn't just a personal choice, it's a duty to those who trust you most. The fourth sign, they drain your emotional energy. You've likely met someone who initially seemed like a blessing, a kind friend, a thoughtful neighbor, or a family member who truly understands you. They appear when you're most vulnerable, offering support and loyalty that feels reassuring. But over time, their true nature emerges not through anger or overt betrayal, but through small, insidious actions that are hard to pinpoint. They masterfully identify your vulnerabilities and exploit them, all while appearing caring. Their probing questions aren't meant to aid your healing, but to catalog your weaknesses for their own purposes. And gradually, what began as support turns into an interrogation. I recall a friend who experienced this with a new acquaintance from church. Initially, the person seemed like a benefactor, helping with errands, checking on her health, and offering to assist with chores. She felt truly blessed, especially after losing her spouse. But over time, I noticed she spoke less with her grown children. She claimed they didn't understand her as well as this new friend did. She began skipping family gatherings to spend time with him, and when her family questioned his intentions, she grew defensive. "He's the only one who's always there for me," she said. The reality was far darker. He gradually convinced her that her children were selfish and didn't truly care. He needed her isolated to control her world. This is how emotional predators operate. They don't reveal their plans with malice. They don't snarl or act aggressive. Instead, they present themselves as compassionate, earning your trust by making you feel heard in a way you haven't in years. They become indispensable, your first call in sorrow, your first confidant in joy. But with each shared secret, their influence grows, subtly shifting your reliance toward them alone. And with that dependence, their control strengthens. They criticize those who care about you, suggesting those relationships are harmful. They make you doubt your judgment. They subtly shame you for spending time with others. Psychologically, they thrive on creating emotional scarcity, draining your confidence and severing other sources of love. You find yourself apologizing for imagined faults, bending to their values to avoid their displeasure, or taking blame to keep peace. Ironically, while you strive to mend the relationship, they have no interest in mutual effort. Their goal is your submission, not harmony, leaving you exhausted and spiritually depleted. Stoic philosophy warns us to guard the gates of our mind and heart. Marcus Aurelius wrote that our mind is colored by the thoughts we allow. When we let such people flood our lives with doubt and insecurity, they don't just alter our mood, they reshape who we are. The Stoic solution is challenging, but vital. It demands unflinching honesty about the impact someone has on you. It requires seeing the relationship as it truly is, not as you wish it to be. You must accept that some people cannot be reasoned with or changed because they have no desire to grow. If you feel drained, diminished, or weakened in their presence, that's not love or friendship, it's predation. The kindest act you can do for yourself and them is to step back, reclaim your mind, your peace, and the identity you had before their influence. Next, we'll explore practical ways to build boundaries that protect you without mirroring the manipulation you're escaping. The truth is, you deserve more than merely enduring such relationships. You deserve to thrive. The fifth sign, they instill a pervasive sense of fear, unease, and gloom. Psychological research shows that anxiety and fear can spread socially, like a contagion of the mind, altering your perspective without you realizing it. You don't need to be naturally anxious to fall into this trap. Prolonged exposure to someone who thrives on fear, speaking in terms of catastrophe and worst-case scenarios, can make their mindset yours. And it's rarely obvious at first. It happens quietly, subtly, until you no longer recognize yourself. You might think this shift in your spirit is just a sign of aging or necessary caution life demands. But often, it's shaped by an external influence that wants you to remain small, doubtful, and afraid. These individuals don't arrive with obvious warnings. They come as trusted friends, confidants, or family, claiming to act in your best interest. They offer advice that's really sabotage in disguise. Instead of helping you weigh options, they highlight every risk until you're paralyzed. Instead of celebrating your goals, they question your abilities and motives, planting self-doubt like weeds that choke every decision you make. They don't accept your careful consideration, they demand your compliance. For those with empathy or a strong sense of duty, this is especially perilous. We're taught to listen and consider others' views, hesitating to label someone as negative when they claim to be honest or realistic, even as their words slowly stifle our hope. This behavior isn't harmless pessimism. It's psychological manipulation aimed at control. They create a reality where you need their guidance to navigate a world they've constructed in your mind. Over time, your courage fades. Your willingness to dream, take risks, or stand up for yourself diminishes. You apologize for wanting more. You begin to question the instincts that once guided you. Worse, you may forget you were ever different. The Stoics warned clearly of this danger, teaching that our thoughts are our only true domain, and we must guard them fiercely. Marcus Aurelius said our minds are shaped by the thoughts we permit, like fabric-absorbing dye. When you constantly absorb fear and negativity, they don't just stay external, they seep into you, weaving into your choices and reshaping your worldview. This isn't just a mood, it's the loss of your ability to choose your own path. If you find yourself living smaller, avoiding risks you once embraced, or seeing only danger and loss, it's time to question the voices you allow close. Are they helping you see the world clearly? Or are they binding you to their fears? Do their warnings free you from illusion, or chain you to their approval? These questions demand courage, as their answers often reveal betrayal hidden beneath a mask of care. The Stoic response isn't to become hardened or unfeeling, but to build clear mental boundaries, choosing who speaks into your life and distinguishing warnings rooted in love from those meant to control. It means learning to separate caution from paralysis, honesty from cruelty, prudence from surrender. It means reclaiming your right to judge, decide, and live as the steward of your own life. Let's move forward, exploring how to cultivate mental clarity and resilience. You deserve more than surviving fear. You deserve to live with dignity and freedom, mastering your thoughts, no matter who tries to sway you. So, be honest with yourself. If any of these signs feel familiar, it's time to stop giving the benefit of the doubt to those who drain your spirit like emotional predators at an endless feast. You weren't born to be a puppet or a target for others' blows. You deserve peace, clarity, and the freedom to choose your path without toxic whispers in your ear. Recognizing these subtle saboteurs is the first step to removing their influence from your life. At the very least, it's offering them a polite farewell with the message, try as you might, your tactics won't work today. If this resonates or stirs you, don't just sit quietly. Subscribe and leave a comment sharing which signs struck you most. Let's create a space together where we expose these harmful patterns and support each other to stand firm. Because, trust me, once you see through their game, you'll never have to play it again. Stay vigilant, hold your strength, and join me in the next video, where we'll continue unveiling the darkness with clear insight and necessary truth.